I'm convinced that God gives me seminarians to keep me young. I know that's what's happening. I have a GPS Google story with Kyle too. So I've been down to Samanak of St. John the Baptist Parish several times. And so Kyle and I were going down there for a funeral some months ago. And Kyle's got his Google GPS out and he goes, well, let's go this way. It says in the GPS. I go, well, Route 47's right here. It works. No, let's go this way. So we took roads I have never taken before. Never. But we got there in good shape. It was a beautiful drive through farm fields. So I'm now a Google GPS believer. I'm a believer. He's not exaggerating about his sleeping habits of late. It's true. I had no idea he got home at 1 o'clock from fireworks in Batavia. I'd been asleep probably 4 hours at that point. But I woke up the next morning, and now it's like 10, 11, 12. The Kyle's car's in front of the rectory. The door is closed. I was about to do a Jesus thing and stand at the door and go, Lazarus, come out, come out. Lazarus didn't come out till 6 o'clock at night, Yeah, it keeps me on my toes. It's great. I love it. Okay, so real quick, just going to share one brief thought with you after Kyle's beautiful words. They do surveys of Americans who believe in Jesus Christ, Christians. They ask them, what's your favorite sayings of Christ? Almost every year it shows up. The Good Samaritan is number one. The Good Samaritan who helped that guy who was beat up by the side of the road. Almost always number two is this gospel that you just heard. It's always American Christians' second favorite of all the scriptures. Come to me, all you who labor, are heavy burdened. I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Learn from me. I am meek and humble of heart, but my yoke is easy. My burden is light. Why do you suppose that rate's so high among us? Because, like Kyle said, we all have crosses. We all have burdens. To be human is to have a cross or crosses. Different for different people, but nobody gets a pass. Nobody gets a pass on the cross. The only question is, what should I do with my cross? Jesus says in the gospel, take my yoke upon you. As you know, I'm a farm boy, grew up on the farm. I don't think they do this anymore, but when I was a little kid, I remember going with Dad to a blacksmith shop in Harmon, Illinois. It's about 7 miles from our farm. And being fascinated, the blacksmith was also something of a carpenter, and he was shaving this wooden yoke. If I asked him what it was a yoke for a pair of oxen. Because not every ox has the same bone structure, the same shoulders. No, everyone is unique. So he's carving it. So and the ox don't switch sides either. If you're the ox on the right, you're not going to wind up on the left. That's your side. In fact, it doesn't work good for the animals if you switch it. So he was shaving this yoke so it would fit exactly on the shoulder of these two different oxen that were yoked together. So that, because to that yoke is going to be hooked chains, and they're going to be pulling like a plow or something very, very heavy. If it's not a good fit, that yoke is going to chafe their shoulders and rub them raw. And so he was carving it so it fit perfectly onto the shoulders of those two oxen. In much the same way, you and I have a yoke. Ultimately, we believe our yoke is the new law that Jesus gave to us. The new law of love. Love the Lord your God with your whole heart and your soul, your whole mind, your whole strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And there comes the yoke. Sometimes that's extremely difficult. Not every one of our neighbors is so lovable or easy to love. Guess what? Sometimes we're not so easy to love, right? That's the yoke of that law that Jesus put on our necks. But when we go to Jesus, just like he said, come to me, come to me. When we seek his help, we find that we're not the only one with that yoke. There's two pulling that yoke. And the one next to us, pulling right alongside of us, is Jesus Christ.